Hello, good evening. Welcome to our virtual event, info sessions for Dalian American International School. My name is Michelle, and I'm the host for tonight, and I'm also in charge of admissions. So today, in this 1 hour from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we are going to, we invited our elementary and our secondary leadership team to walk you through every aspect of our Dalian American International School, including curriculum, facilities, faculties, the activities and learning in the AIS community. So if you have any questions, feel free to type your questions in the chat room and we'll answer them during this session. And we'll wrap up our event by providing you the admissions process if you are interested in filling the application form. So let me start by introducing North Anglia education. We have over 70 schools across 30 countries providing premium education for over 70,000 students, and Dalian American International School is part of our North Anglia families. So we entered into the China market for more than 20 years with 11 bilingual schools providing education to our Chinese families and also 9 international schools to cater our expatriate families with foreign passports. And Dalian American International School is one of the 9 international schools. So being part of the North Anglia family really opens up many opportunities for our students. We have collaborations with the Juilliard for Performing Arts program and also STEAM with MIT and also the UNICEF collaborations. We also have global expeditions in Tanzania and Switzerland to develop students' skills including leadership, collaborations and global mindedness. And then also we have our students who will be able to connect with other students in other sister schools through an online platform called Global Campus. And then there are also many offline events such as the STEAM Festival and also the Global Games. So I'm very proud to introduce our leadership team in Dalian American International School. Our head of school is Dr. Blair Lee, and then our elementary school leaderships including Mr. Peter Rowe is our elementary principal, and then our assistant principal, Miss Angela Beach, and then in our secondary division, we have Mr. Nathan Burton and also Mr. Ryan Holstrom as our secondary principal and assistant principal. So we are going to start by introducing you the elementary school, and we're very happy to have Mr. Peter Rowe and also Miss Angela Beach here. And then to walk you through every aspect of our fantastic, amazing elementary school.
Wonderful. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. Rowe. I'm originally from Canada. I've been overseas for 20 years now. This is my 9th year here at Dalian American International School and my 5th year as principal of the elementary division.
Wonderful. My name is Angela Beach. I'm the assistant principal here. This is actually my 2nd year overseas and 2nd year here at Dalian. 15th year in education. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, but super happy to be here as a Sea Dragon.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think I would like to start by asking a question because we chose this picture in particular, thinking that it's a very interesting picture, and I would like to ask Mr. Rowe that, what were you doing in that picture?
Well, here at Dalian American International School, we know all students, when they come to school in the morning, we can be a little bit tired, a little bit drowsy, and we want to make sure we get the day started with a roar. And so in the morning, I gather everybody's attention, and it's "Good morning, Sea Dragons," and the students reply by saying, "Good morning, everyone, roar!" And so it's just a great way to start the day.
Oh, so I think it's a very lovely tradition.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we do enjoy
Okay,
it.
so we'll hand over the time to you to introduce our school, and then also if parents, you have any questions, feel free to type your questions in the chat room, and then we'll answer it during the introduction.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so here at Dalian American International School, we are a mission-driven organization. So I'd just like to take a moment and share that mission with you. Dalian American International School provides challenging, collaborative, and responsive experiences that engage learners in developing intellect, character, and health. At DIS, every learner achieves personal excellence and contributes to the global community. So today's presentation, we're going to show just how we achieve this mission and bring it to life here with our students. Just a few quick facts about our elementary school. So we are a pre-K through grade 5 program, so those are ages 4 to 11. And we really focus on what we call future readiness skills. You might know that by a different name, which is 21st century skills, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, innovation, creativity. But another hallmark of our program is that we're very student-centered. We're focused on that whole child, and we like to think around personalized learning. So that's kind of the workshop model. We're using our data, where each student needs to go, and how are we going to get them there through differentiation. So every child is getting a unique, personalized learning experience.
So for what I understand is we not only focus students on the academic,
That's right. That's
but
right.
also with their social skills and then also the personal skills as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a good segue. So part of the mission is how do we actualize that? How do we make it happen in the classroom? And so we use our school-wide learning outcomes as indicators to know that we're achieving that mission. And I won't read these right now. We'll get into them in the next slide. But what we did when we developed those school-wide learning outcomes is we did some research and we looked at what are the best practices around the world in education. So we looked at things like the World Economic Forum. We looked at what some of the premier schools around the world are doing. Looked at what Anglia does. And when we think about how we're preparing students for the future, it kind of falls into 3 categories. Those foundational literacies. Can they add? Can they read? Do they know science facts? Financial literacy? Do they know their history, their culture? And then we want to think about their competencies. Can they critically think, problem solve? Can they be creative in their work and their thinking? Can they communicate effectively? And most importantly, can they work with others well? But then it says character, and that whole child. Curiosity, initiative. Do they have persistence, not giving up easily? Are they adaptable to new situations? Giving them leadership opportunities, as well as social and cultural awareness. So today we're going to be talking about these 21st century skills. And our first school-wide learning outcome is about character, and I'm going to pass things on to Ms. Beach.
Absolutely. So our first school-wide learner outcome is that learners will become respectful and trustworthy global citizens that demonstrate strong character through responsible, fair, and caring actions. And one of the ways that we really teach our students how to achieve this goal is through what we call character counts. Character Counts is one of our character education programs that we use to really teach the whole child. We believe that collaboration and student discourse and challenge is how students can achieve those goals. And we teach those goals through citizenship, responsibility, fairness, caring, trustworthiness, and respect to build that whole child capacity.
Wonderful. And so one thing we like to think about is we want to layer our school-wide learning outcomes. So the most important thing we want to focus on first is their character. And we use a Superman analogy. Superman is strong, he's got superhuman strength, but the thing that makes Superman special is his character. He's kind, he's trustworthy, he's a global citizen. Without those characteristics, well, he could be a supervillain. And so that's why we want to make sure that character is the most important thing. It's our foundation that we're building on here at school. And that brings us to our second school-wide learning outcome. Learners will exhibit resilience, courage, initiative, creativity, and curiosity as they pursue personal excellence in intellect and health. And so life can be difficult. School can be difficult. And if we give up too easily, our students are never going to learn. And in the world that we live in today, we're constantly being thrown new challenges. And so we want students to be resilient. We don't want them to give up easily. We want them to have courage to tackle new things, to try new things, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. And once they have that resilience and courage, that they're going to take risks and they're going to try new things. Even though they might fail, they're going to try. And while they're doing all that, they're being creative, not only in what they're doing, but how they're thinking. And then they're demonstrating that curiosity. They're trying different things and seeing what works.
And I really like that Superman and supervillain analogy. It's quite easy to understand that our students cannot just have the skills and the knowledge, but also need to have a strong and kind heart and know how to return to the world as the global citizen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful. And so as we're thinking about kind of that layer, now that they're curious, they're willing to take risks, we're thinking about that next Schoolwide learning outcome, and that learners will become skilled innovators, critical thinkers, and problem solvers who are technologically literate. And so they're now able to innovate. They're able to create. They're going to critically think. They're not going to take one answer and think that's it. There's no other answer. They're looking at different ways of thinking. They're exploring what different research is saying. In math class, they're not looking for one solution with a problem. Maybe they're trying out different solutions to problems and then analyzing to figure out which is the most efficient. And so that's the type of student that we're trying to develop here at DIS, that they have those critical thinking skills.
Yeah. So we want to also answer the parents' questions, and then because questions start to come.
Yes,
the first one is, how old should a child to be accepted to the DAIS elementary?
So our youngest students in pre-K should be 4 years old by the beginning of October. And then if they're in a different grade level other than pre-K, we do look at their age, the country that they're coming from. Every country is a little bit different in when they accept students and at what age. And we try and be flexible in understanding the country that they're coming from and the grade they should be going into.
And I think before we launched the event sign-ups, that we got some parents' questions came in earlier by asking of the nationalities. So in our elementary, how many nationalities of students in our community?
Gosh, I would say 20 plus nationalities. And so North America, Canada, US, South Korea, Japan, and then many European countries are represented. And so it's a wide variety of students from all over the world.
Okay, and then we also have parents ask about the class size. So that how many students do you have in one class?
So currently our maximum is 20. And so each class kind of ranges anywhere from about 12 to 20.
Okay, and then when can we start to apply during the year?
Really at any time. We encourage, it's great when students can start at the beginning of the year in August, but we know that's not always the situation that parents are in. And so at any time, parents can apply, and they're always welcome to come in and check our school out.
Cool. All right, wonderful. Let's go ahead.
So part of that critical thinking is that we are a standards-based school. And so this is an international kind of norm around the world, and we use standards from the United States, so Common Core, Next Generation Science Standards, the National Coalition of Core Art Standards. And what's quite nice about these standards is that they give us kind of the level of thinking that students need to do, and we call that the rigor of the learning that they're going to do. And so what you see here is a taxonomy of thinking. And so we want all of our students to be able to remember and understand concepts. And once they can remember and understand concepts, we want them to then use them. We want them to apply them. And once they can apply them, we want them to analyze, evaluate, and create. And that really is 21st century thinking. It's how we assess higher order thinking. And it's also then how we give feedback to students. And so you'll see there a 2, a 3, and a 4. That's how we grade here at EIS, and this is an international norm in American schools and many international schools, is that your 2 is representative of remembering and understanding. A 3 is saying, I can apply what that standard is asking me to do, and then that 4 is going above and beyond, that you're analyzing, you're evaluating, you're synthesizing, you're creating. And that's a real hallmark of international education, but especially standards-based education.
So which means that by using these benchmarks and rubrics, then an expatriate family, they study in China in our school for a couple of years, and then when they go back to their home countries, that they are able to also connect these standard base to their school when they are back to their home country.
Absolutely, and this we're seeing as a norm. I've taught in Australia, Canada, in the US, and this is what we're now seeing, is this transition to standards-based grading. It's well over 20, 30 years in implementation. The last 10 years, it's really gained steam, and we're seeing it all over the world now.
Yeah, cool. So we also have one parent that asked, do we have uniform?
No, we don't. And that's something special about coming from America. We don't typically use uniforms. And so it's like kind of that sense that you're in American school and that you don't wear a uniform.
Ah, okay, cool.
So just another hallmark of that kind of standards-based system is it's that feedback. And Ms. Beach will talk a little bit here about data in a minute, but what we really try and do is we're asking ourselves and we're asking our students, where are we going with this learning? And so we teach students, we teach them using that benchmark that you saw on the previous slide, and it's all about what evidence do we have that they've met learning? What do they still need to learn? What more do they need to learn? Where are they now? Where do they need to go? Maybe they need more help. They need to review and do more, or maybe they're ready to have acceleration and enrichment and go further. And so it's all about a feedback loop for us, and it's talking to the students about what they need to know and where they need to go, and then differentiating that journey that they're going on.
Yeah, so the next step in our process is looking at data. At DAIS, we are very data rich, and so we do spend a lot of time analyzing the data that the teachers give in the classroom. And kind of like what Mr. Rowe said, it's the feedback piece that is so important. We can assess our students and we can collect information about how they are progressing, but then we have to do something with that information. And so what we have here is we have a process that we take our teachers through. When they do collect data, we come together as professional teams, EAL specialists, myself and Mr. Rowe. We also have the teachers there, and we look at the data and we ask ourselves, what instructional decisions do we need to make in order to impact the learning in the classroom? We talk about how we can then make differentiated plans for our students. We understand that students learn at different rates, they learn in different ways. And so our goal is to then create differentiated plans so that we can meet the students where they are, but get them to where we want them to be. We also spend a lot of time reflecting. It's so important that we go through this process and that we reflect on our practices in our classroom so that we can continue to improve and continue to reach each and every learner. So it is somewhat of a cycle, and it is a really important part of our teaching. It's a really important part of our learning. And then we take this information and we put it right back into the classroom. We collaborate with our students, we challenge them, we decide, is there time for enrichment? Is there time for intervention? And that leads us right into our next slide of RTI and SIT. And so RTI is actually our response to intervention process. What you'll notice here is that we have a three-tier process that we follow. And it really is kind of that next step in the data collection process. So as teachers, we've taught our lesson, we have assessed our students on their progress, we've looked at that data, and we're starting to notice that we have students that are achieving those expectations, and then we also are noticing that students are possibly not meeting those expectations. And so at that point, we kind of have to make decisions. How are we going to support our students and differentiate? And we set goals, we put interventions into place, we again collaborate as a team, And what we notice is we either then see success from those goals and interventions, or we see that students need more support. In that case, we do continue to progress them along the lines of the tier 2 to the tier 3, increasing the interventions if we notice that students are continuing to struggle. One of the things that we are very lucky to have is a learning support specialist, and her name is actually Grace Holstrom. She works very, very closely with both Mr. Rowe and myself, as well as our classroom teachers. And she is very, very well versed in instructional practices and strategies and interventions to support our students. And so she's kind of always got her finger on the pulse with what's going on in our building and how to support our students academically as well as behaviorally.
And I'll just notice some of the questions on the side. And so one of the questions is around assistance in the classroom. And so that's part of one of the support services that we do provide. We have assistants in pre-K, K, and grade 1 that are full-time. They're dedicated to that class. But then we also have 2 assistants that work with our English as an additional language support service as well. So that's another layer of support that we offer. We have a teacher dedicated to grade 3 and 5, as well as a teacher dedicated for pre-K through grade 2. And they're there to help students with English as an additional language. And they both also have teacher assistants who are also pushing in and helping students with their English development.
Yeah, because I think that's also that you answered part of the previous question as well, when the parents ask if the students' first language is not English, then what supports we provide. So yes, we have the EAL, English as additional language, to support that.
And that's something that we do have a large, sizable EAL population. And the nice thing is that because our students are from different countries, they can't rely on maybe one language to talk to one another.
Yeah.
So my German student and my South Korean student don't have a common language other than English to talk to one another. And so it's really quite nice. They get support that they need in the classroom, but then they're learning to practice their English with one another, and that's always wonderful.
And Chinese language, that is also part of the language lessons that we offer.
Absolutely. So we have, currently we have 3 different language levels of Chinese language being offered. Novice, and it's for generally our foreign students who don't speak Chinese, they're new to Chinese. And then we have our native level Chinese class, where it's typically students who are native in their Chinese language, or they've been here for a long time and they're outstanding at Chinese. And then there's the middle class, and those are the students who fall in the middle. So one of the other hallmarks within our program is that Schoolwide Learning Goal number 4 is that learners will appreciate and reflect on the influences of cultures in their interactions with others. And that's just kind of that example I just shared with the German student and the South Korean student, is they're going to learn from one another. Their lives are now changed because they get to interact with each other. My life is now changed because I get to interact with South Korean students, Japanese students, students from all over the world. And we try and really leverage that within our program. So DIS is accredited by the Western Associations of Schools and Colleges. And one thing that we're asked to do as an international school is really have an understanding of our host nation. And so we call that our China context. So at the younger grades, they're learning about local China. They're learning about what it means to live here in Dalian and Jinshitan. They're learning about the community. And as they move up in the grades, they're learning about the nation of China. To then in grade 5, where it's China and the world, and they're understanding China's interactions with the world. And while they're doing that, they're also investigating themselves and their home countries, and they're gaining a unique understanding of their place in the world, what it means to live in China and be Chinese, but also to be a citizen of the world.
And something else that we definitely know about students is that they love to talk. And so we encourage conversation and collaboration and talking in our classrooms. We think that it's a way to enrich our students' academic experience, their social experience. But one of the things that we know is that we want to talk about the right things. components. We wanted to talk about the content that they're learning in the classroom. And so one of the strategies and the structures that we use here very heavily are Kagan cooperative learning structures. And the teachers have all been trained on how to embed all of these different structures into their classroom so that they can use them within their content. And they can use them fluidly in and out of different types of lessons, different content areas, and the students are working together. They're having that discourse, that conversation, and they're being able to talk, which is what they love to do, but it's guided, it's structured, and it's fun. When you walk into a classroom here, you'll notice kids are working together. They're having conversations about the topics. They're critically thinking together and they're collaborating. And it is such a beautiful thing to see when our students are alive about their learning.
I might just add there, when we talk about future readiness, that this is one of those skills that we did not focus on when I grew up. And when we talk to our corporate partners now, the number one skill they're looking for is, can someone work in a team? Can they collaborate well with one another? And can they be productive? And we're starting this now when they're in pre-K, and imagine where they're going to be when they enter the workforce. And
yes, so then I think they will be in a very strong position in the future, and especially collaborated, not just offline, but in this particular situations, online as well, working together is also very important.
That's right. And so finally, our last Schoolwide learning goal is that learners will contribute to the interdependent world around them through inquiry and action. And that's really what we do here at DIS, is that we teach, we call them units of study, and that unit of study kind of asks a question. And so the students inquire around a question they might have, and that could be at any subject. It could be about how do animals live in habitats? How do good writers write poetry? And so then they go on and do an investigation, and they do some research, and they're finding out answers to their questions. And then they might start creating from that investigation. So with an animal in a habitat, maybe they're reconstructing a model of that animal habitat. And they're going to learn from one another, and they're talk about what they've created and how they've learned. But throughout this whole process, they're also going to reflect. They're going to reflect on the questions they asked. They're going to reflect on how they investigated. They're going to reflect on their creations. They're going to reflect on their discussions. And that's really what we're trying to create here at DIS, is that students can inquire, they can ask good questions, they're going to critically think, they're going to problem solve, they're going to be resilient, and take their learning to the next level.
Every time I looked at or I listened to principals talk about the curriculum and the school, then it made me want to go back to my childhood and then just relearn this. Then I think if I had that, it would be very, very good and beneficial for me. Yeah.
So as part of those units of study in our classrooms, you'll notice that we do follow a balanced literacy program, which includes the reading, the writing, the oral language, the phonics, that word work piece, and also assessments. And so here at DAIS, we use Lucy Calkins for our Readers and Writers Workshop. We use Words Their Way for our spelling inventory and our phonics and our vocabulary building. And then we use literacy across the curriculum. You will see students reading and writing and investigating in all subjects in our classrooms, as well as using literacy skills for research, to find information. It is such a big rock on our campus that we focus so heavily on all of these balanced literacy components that you'll see it kind of threaded through all of the classrooms in our school.
And just as focused as we are on literacy, we do have a very heavy math and science focus. Our students do extraordinarily well in math and science, as well as language arts. And one thing I'd like to point out with math, we don't focus just strictly on what we call computational fluency. It is important. We want our students to be able to add and subtract, multiply and divide quickly, but we really want them to think critically and think deeply. We want them to not just solve a problem in one way, but in many different ways and determine the best solution for those answers. And it's always wonderful to walk into a math classroom because the students are truly collaborating, working together, and struggling over a problem. but it's what we call a productive struggle, and they're learning from it, they're learning from their mistakes, they're learning from one another, and it's just phenomenal. The other thing that we enjoy here at DIS is we have a STEAM focus in science, but also in our design class. And so, and again, it kind of goes back to that inquiry model I showed earlier. But within science, within design class, we want our students to really think critically and think through that inquiry model. And the design model is just slightly different in that they are kind of building, they're looking for solutions to a problem, kind of that asking questions and investigating. But then when they come up with that solution, they're testing it. They want to see, is that solution the best solution? And then they get into a cycle of testing the solution, evaluating it, finding the mistakes, going back and fixing it, testing it again, finding more mistakes, fixing it again. And so really getting into that mindset that the cycle never finishes. We're always trying to improve and always do better.
So do every grade have the design and the STEAM class?
So every grade has science and design. In some pre-K, kindergarten, grade 1, we do a little bit more of the traditional STEAM integration with design. And with grades 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a bit more STEM and design, but we do integrate when it works out well. Yeah. And finally, we're that whole child. We had some questions earlier about the Chinese class.
Yes.
We have Chinese 5 days a week, 45 minutes long. And then we also have art classes twice a week. We have a library class once a week. We have physical education twice a week and music twice a week. And so we're really focused on the whole child, the different experiences they can have, especially the arts.
It seems the children have a lot to do in the school.
Absolutely.
And many specialist classes on top of the regular classes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
And we do have after-school activities, as well.
Yes.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, teachers provide teacher-led activities. And then I think almost every night of the week, there's also outside vendors that offer various activities like computer coding, soccer, and many others.
Yeah, so I think we got a very good understanding through Mr. Rowe and Ms. Beach's introduction about the DAIS Elementary School, and then we got answered some questions from the parents as well. And then if the parents are interested in our school, and then you're more than welcome to come to our school, have a school tour, and then actually be in our elementary buildings to come meet Mr. Rowe and Ms. Beach, and then talk about your child, and then talk about the education.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we are going to introduce our secondary school. Actually, we are the K-12 system in our school that starting from pre-K all the way to grade 5, it's our elementary school, and then starting from grade 6, it's the students officially comes into our secondary school. So we would like to, we're very happy to have Mr. Holstrom, our secondary assistant principal, and also Miss Audrey, and that's a very familiar face that maybe parents meet her all the time. She's our parents liaison, but also she is a parent as well, because your sons, one already graduated from our school,
Yes.
and one still studying in our school.
In grade 12, yes. He is about to graduate. So I have two, I'm a mother of 2 proud students of DIS. I'm proud of them.
Okay, and Mr. Holstrom, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, and thank you all for staying on to speak with us tonight about the secondary school. My name is Ryan Holstrom, and I am our secondary school assistant principal. This is my 4th year at DIS and my 11th year in education.
Cool. So shall we start? And I know that we've got very good results this year, and also through the history that we have very proud graduating results for our grade 12 students, right?
That is correct. And we're going to, thank you, sorry. I came to DIS actually as a teacher, and so I got to see firsthand at how incredible our students had. I actually was lucky enough to have one of Audrey's sons in my classes, and so I really got to experience the teaching and learning, as well as then transitioning to the administration role. So just so proud of how hard our students work, and their hard work has paid off with over 70% going to top universities, and with many offers along the way. The one thing though is we are an American school, but as the climate has kind of shifted across the globe, our students get in all over the world. So no matter where the top universities are, we've had students get into top American universities, Canada, in the UK, and then all over Asia as well.
So because we have a lot of parents, they would also have the questions that because we are American school and we study AP, then but we are still able to use the AP to apply universities across the world, right?
Yeah, and that is correct. And actually this year we have just become a UCAS certified school, which will help all of our students in the application process in our European universities.
Okay. Yeah, and then it opens up more opportunities for our grade 12 students in terms of college applications. Yeah.
That is correct. And our counseling, as we will go in more detail further in the presentation, they do an excellent job. They're well-versed in the application process in all different countries around the world.
Great.
So I'm going to share some fast facts with you, but Mr. Rowe and Ms. Beach did such an excellent job. We are a K-12 school, and we work very closely to align all of our systems and programs. And so I don't want to reiterate all the things that Mr. Rowe said, but we are a school that, again, starts in grade at age 11 to 18, and we really focus again on those 21st century skills. And this is kind of been actualized in our advisory program. And so our students not only get their content classes, but they get a personalized advisor that will stay with them every year as they progress through our school. And it's in those advisory classes where our teachers are able to talk to kids. It's a small class size of about 7 to 10 students, and they're able to monitor their progress academically, but then also have conversations around critical thinking, problem solving, and our character education program. So when we talked, and Mr. Rowe talked about that holistic approach, we have very similar programs as the elementary school, but then as you look at DIS, there is a lot as you progress into high school of services that are actually added on. And so in the high school, we do offer a rigorous AP curriculum that we will go into detail a little further. We have a comprehensive counseling program, so it's not just college counseling and getting students into top universities, but also providing social emotional support and problem solving support. And our counselors provide a wellness survey each week to see how they can best support our students.
So then student well-being is also very, very important here.
Highly important and prioritized.
Okay.
We also offer an applied studies program at our school. So students get to pick from a wide variety of product design classes, coding classes, and one of our most popular classes in our school is actually our Model UN. And that is a class that will be tied with UNICEF and possibly give students the option to actually go to the United Nations and present.
Yeah. So they actually have the opportunities to go to New York to attend the highest ranking of the MUN activities. Yeah.
And the one thing that I think is really special about our school is that MUN course at most schools around the world is really offered as an after-school activity. But because it is so important to students developing a sense of global awareness, we actually offer it as a class in the current school day. And we actually this weekend have a conference where we have over 80 students that participate. And we are actually also invite our middle school students to participate and kind of learn from our high school students in that process.
Okay, we got two parents' questions. One is it easy to get into European universities after graduating from the AIS?
As you go through our schools, students are given the opportunity to be educated about what it takes, and so to get into a European university. And so we do have a lot of students. We've actually seen a shift as more students have wanted to go to the UK. Our students getting in, and they get into top universities, and so I would say yes.
Yeah, and I was like, it's never easy. I saw
Yes.
our students study very hard to that because they want to get to the top universities.
And actually, DIS has about, if I remember correctly, about 22 nationalities. So it really is, the student getting back to helping the student getting back to their own country, as well as helping international students, getting into the colleges that they want. We've been very successful sending them even back to South America, to UK, to Europe, with all those supports and counseling service that we have. Yeah.
And then we also have questions talking about the teachers, and then I think it related to the next slide when we talk about our faculty. It's where are teachers from and what are their qualifications?
Yeah, and so I'll talk about the teacher qualifications in a further slide, but I can address how do teachers help to apply to university. So that really is something that they work in advisory with their students to kind of help them identify what courses they want to take next year. But that's really driven by our counseling department, and the counseling department has weekly and monthly training sessions for our students on the application process. But one way the teachers do help out is we do have a kind of college readiness week where all of our teachers kind of promote where they went to university, what their experience was like, and kind of share that experience with their students. And so that's something that's really always a fun week on our campus.
I think that's a very considered activity that we share how what the experience is for us when we were in the universities to the students, and then the more information they get, then they have a better picture of about the future life in the overseas university.
They actually do talk to teacher about the major, and then they get a lot of really cultural questions too, even the locations, even the weather, even the living index, all those juicy details they could talk directly to over almost 100 of our teachers overseas. It's amazing resources.
So talking about kind of our qualification of our teachers, and so definitely at the high school level, we are getting teachers that are masters of their craft and have degrees in the content of study. Especially prioritizing our AP curriculum, we make sure that any teacher that is teaching AP has had the proper AP training, and we really try and recruit teachers that have in-depth AP experience. And so that's definitely a priority for us. In terms of professional development, we have many offers since we have joined Nord Anglia with Juilliard and our collaborations with Juilliard and MIT. But then actually we've had a couple teachers, thanks to Nord Anglia, that have been approved for their master's program. And so we have a couple teachers that are getting a master's for free. And so that's been excellent. It's going to be an educational leadership and being something that, will work out really well. And then obviously the collaboration with just so many other Nord Anglia schools is something that our teachers can collaborate and get resources on many different contents.
Yeah, so then also we got questions like, is it easy to apply for Japanese universities after graduated from the AIS? Once again, if you want good universities, it's never easy.
Yes.
You need to study very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. But the AP is the international recognized curriculum and program that would allow you to apply basically most of the universities overseas. Yeah.
In fact, we have a college counseling seminar coming up this Friday. if you're interested, please contact us. Maybe you could join us, and hear what our counselor have to say about applying to different university system this Friday.
Yeah, because I think many parents would quite focus on the graduations and also what universities that their children would go to, after graduating from our school. Okay, let me go into the next slide.
Yes.
Yeah.
So really our course progression, I will talk because obviously we're not taking APs in middle school, but in our middle school, when coming into our program, we really make sure that students get to experience all the key important content, such as math, English, science. And as they kind of progress, they get to be exposed to the fine arts, to their language classes. And really, as they start to progress and go through up into the secondary school, they get to kind of start narrowing their focus and seeing, what career path do I want to go on? What do I want to major in college? And then seeing, well, what are those AP courses that are going to make me look attractive to that university program? And so we offer tracks for our students and give them advice, both their content teachers, but then the counselors, on if you want to go into engineering, these are the AP courses that you should be taking. And we encourage all of our students to at least take one AP course at their time at DIS. However, we've had students that are taking 15 courses in their time at DIS. And so it is something we want well-rounded students that, they can focus on science APs or math, but we have many students who take AP courses in English, math, history, and science.
So I guess if you're academically strong, then you could challenge yourself to take as many as you can, and then also being very personalized to your future interested majors, and then choose your AP courses. Perhaps maybe it's not, it's quite a lot. If I just look at it from the phone, if parents look at it from the phone, then maybe you can't really see the subjects here, but if just from the color, it looks there are a lot of AP courses.
Yeah, and I saw a question from one of our parents, and we are very similar to the elementary school in terms of offering children with English support. So our EAL department we have 7 teachers, and they co-teach in the middle school. And so they collaborate with the content teacher. And so they're not TAs, they are certified English language teachers. And they help support English language learners as they move up into high school. In our grades 9 and 10, we do have an EAL class, but it still is more structured support where they're co-teaching, but we definitely provide a lot of that support to our kids coming in middle school. But then as kids are in high school, they still get that support as well. We also offer a similar RTI model as they talked about our response to interventions in the elementary school, where our grade levels meet once a month to go over student data and kind of identify areas where they can support specific students that maybe are struggling or need additional support.
Yeah, and we all see the big data now. It's very useful and helpful to bring something for us to have a better picture of that student's progress, and then according to their progress, then we can make a better, more personalized study plan for them. Yeah,
definitely. So I also saw another question about when can students take AP courses, and so we don't have an age restriction. Generally, they have to be a high school student. So our earliest age is grade 9, and we do have many grade 9 students that are taking an AP course. A lot of our students sometimes start in grade 10, but generally grade 9 is the first time that they can take an AP course, because AP College Board, you have to be a high school in order to be registered with the AP College Board. We do offer, the one big strength of our school really is, it's not just that we offer AP, it's how much AP we offer. So we offer 19 plus courses. Any course that we do not offer, we do have students that have the opportunity to independent study that course and possibly take the course. And so we have students who have maxed out taken all 19 or taken close to all of our courses, and then they want to maybe take an online AP course that we don't offer, and we make sure that we can accommodate them with that.
Okay, so even students want to choose something that we don't have outside of what we actually have for the face-to-face teaching AP courses, that students are still able to study online.
Yes, that's correct. And so we have a couple students taking U.S. government and politics because they're really interested in politics. And we don't offer that class. We offer, another 5 or 6 history courses, but there are always some courses that students are really interested in, and we always want to support them in being able to give them that opportunity.
Okay.
In addition to that, when they take an AP course online or outside, we are able to allow the student to take the AP exam at the end of the school year at our school. So even though it's online classes that they're taking where they're learning it from some self-study for it, but we're also an AP testing center, so they can take.
Yes, as well as since we are College Board certified, we also offer our SAT and ACT at our school. So, and it is only available to our students. So we don't allow any outside students that are able to sign up. And so it is a personalized experience for our students when they're testing, when it's AP testing season. We make sure they are provided a quiet area where they can focus and take their exams. And we also provide AP mock exam days leading up to the test, where students will come in on a weekend and our teachers volunteer their time and we give them the full experience of a day taking 2 tests. And we make sure that they get lunch and are fed and happy. And they really enjoy that, and they feel that really prepares them for the exam.
So it really is a convenience when the school is the testing site, because just for SAT, you don't have to travel to Hong Kong or Korea, all the other places, and it's a time saving, money saving, and at a location that
And it's the privilege of being the DAIS student.
Yes.
And not only that, we do encourage our kids. We want to make sure they have every opportunity. And so we don't just offer the SAT one time. We offer it at every available date that we are allowed. And so there might be 5 or more opportunities for a student to take the AP, to take the SAT at our school.
Okay, then they can practice, or if they don't do it very well for the first time, then they can do it again.
And they could have a very, extensive plan about, which year, is it like grade 11 that I take it, or is it grade 12? And they can also work with the counselor's office too. Yeah.
So one thing we're very proud of is our AP scores. We have some amazing AP teachers. What you're seeing on the screen is in blue. That is our average AP scores last year. What you see in orange is the average score for the global average. And so as you can see, in almost every class, we are either performing at the global or we are blowing the global average out of the water. In order to get college credit in the US, you must get a passing score of 3. And we have an 86% pass rate, which is very high. And as you can see, most of our AP scores, we have an average of 3. I do know, because I'm the AP coordinator, that we actually, out of all of our scores, we had over 75% of our kids that took the exams that were getting 4s and 5s, and 5 is a perfect score.
Yeah.
And so it's not just that our kids are passing, but our kids on average are getting perfect scores or 4s, which is very, very good as well.
Yeah, so by seeing the comparisons, that I'm really proud of our students by achieving like a lot of the subjects over the global average.
Yes.
We also have a lot of the AP awards too, right?
Yes. Yeah. It is something that we do take a lot of pride in our kids, and we encourage kids. I think one thing that I've been so proud of since I've been here is that every year it seems like we have more and more kids taking AP exams, but even though we're having more kids take AP exams, our scores are going up. And so we're not just increasing enrollment and giving kids opportunities, but we're continuing to have that success and make sure they perform well.
Very good, very good.
So, as some of you asked, I saw this question earlier. So when you kind of look at our faculty, at over 85, this is our total international teachers, both in the elementary and in the secondary. We have although not every one of our teachers has a master's, you can clearly see that the majority of the teachers have a master's, and I know many, as I said, are working towards trying to get their master's, as well as having some with doctorates. So it is something we pride our teachers on, making sure that they are highly qualified and can deliver a quality curriculum for our students.
And it's so amazing that we ask our students to be lifelong learner, and then we demonstrate to the students that the teachers and us are also lifelong learners. Yeah. Okay.
And next,
yes.
because that wasn't a question, that just more looked like. And they will give contact information. I'm just seeing in the chat, there will be contact information that's sent out at the end of the session.
Yes.
And so, as I said, I wanted to take the time to briefly introduce our counseling department. We have 3 counselors, and actually one of our counselors is bilingual and actually trilingual. Miss Soon and Miss Carrie, as you can see in the picture, she actually not only speaks Mandarin, but also Japanese as well. And so for our Japanese and our students that, maybe have spent time and understand a lot of Mandarin, she's been really helpful, not just in counseling them with college admissions, but also in the help in the social emotional department. Mark Donaher is our director of college counseling. He comes with over 20 years of experience in college counseling, and really, it's his first year with us, and I'm really proud of his vision to not just have college counseling, but make it comprehensive and make sure that student well-being is a priority at our school. And then Miss Milan is new to our counseling department and has spent many years in social services in the States, working with kids and helping them on the social emotional side as well. But I've had this question with some parents that come to our school, that we have these 3 counselors and each one of them get assigned a caseload of students, but really all of our students belong to all of our counselors. And so they work really well together. And if one of them maybe is an expert in one area more than another, they definitely make sure that they work and communicate to help that student. Yeah,
and I saw the listed universities that they are very famous and high-ranking universities in the world, that they are track records of the successful application cases that they help students get into Oxford, Cambridge, Cornell, Brown universities. Yeah.
So just to give you a kind of general outline, really middle school is not listed on here, but really middle school counseling is really focused on student wellness and mindfulness and making sure students are getting that well-rounded education. And so they provide weekly grade level assemblies each week to make sure that they're able to talk to students about, sometimes it's digital fluency, making sure our students understand in the digital world how to make sure they are safe, how they're making sure that their information is not being phished online. And so it's really, and that goes all the way through grade 12. Once they get into grade 9, they start exploring what college might look like and what they need to do to start even bolstering their resume in grade 9. Then in grade 10, they really focus on, well, what career might you want to do and what kind of college, university, and degree would support you in that. And then in grade 11 and grade 12, it becomes heavily focused on the college application and admission process. And they meet in grade 11 and 12, they are meeting with students all the time to make sure that they are getting the proper advice and taking the classes that they need to get into the university of their dreams. So.
Okay, so basically the counseling service starting just from middle school, from grade 6, 7, then they already start to get that, and then the higher grades that they are in, then basically the more attention and focus they will be on as it's the years getting approached to their actual application. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Okay, and then so parents ask if we need to hire outside agents to apply universities. our always answers is you don't need to.
Yes, and you don't. And that's one of the things, as I mentioned, being a UCAS center, we offer actually the application process at our school is we use the Common App Cialfo, which is where all the references from teachers, counselors, the resume and essays for the university is uploaded by the student, and then that program sends it out to universities. The UCAS Center, being a UCAS Center this year, that's a very similar process, but that is specific more to European and UK universities. And so we definitely, there isn't an agent needed in order to apply to university, and our counselors give excellent advice on that process.
So going into the next slide is about our boarding service. I think we also got a couple of questions asking about boarding, and we do provide boardings to our secondary students.
Yes, we do. And so we provide two different types of boarding. So we have either 5-day boarders or we have 7-day boarders. And so really depending on many of our 7-day boarders, they live quite far from home, whereas our 5-day boarders are usually going home on the weekends and live maybe an hour away or more. Our boarding program really aligns and is an extension of our school in the fact that it's a holistic approach. So it's not just about, making sure that students are at the school studying all the time or making sure they're provided opportunities. We have horseback riding that we offer that's right across the street. Students are getting an opportunity to go into our local community and hang out, and those options are given to students each week. For our 7-day boarders that are here on the weekend, and they get the opportunity to kind of pick and choose what they want. Just to give you an idea of kind of a general day as a boarder. So they have dedicated house parents, and we want to make sure that they are definitely under quality supervision to make sure our students are safe. But students wake up, they get to go to breakfast, they have their school day, and then they participate in many of our after-school activity programs. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, they have dorm ASAs. So we have like cooking classes where kids get to learn how to cook, maybe basketball or soccer. And then on Tuesday and Thursdays, those, just like with elementary, are teacher-led ASAs. And our teacher-led ASAs really focus on really 3 different areas. They might be academic, they might be physical and health, or it might be something about working with counseling on social well-being. And then after they eat dinner, we actually have a 2-hour session called a guided study time. And this is where students come back to our campus, and our actual teachers that are on campus work that guided study time and provide tutoring for all of their classes. And so we always have a math, a science, and an English teacher or a social studies teacher in guided study time. And so students are either able to work independently or they can get the help that they need to be successful in their studies.
Yeah, so then if they have questions, then they can just go to the teachers in the evening. And I think that's the advantage of being the boarders in our school, is they will get these opportunities to access to the teachers' help in the evening.
And we have excellent facilities on our campus. And so that is, if you're not a boarder on our campus, as soon as the day ends at 4 o'clock, the day ends at 3:45, but we give about until 4:30, and then our library is closing, and students have to leave campus. But our dorm students get to stay on campus. They can have access to our gym, to our music building where they can practice and recite. They can go to our workout facility. And so there's a lot of benefits to living on campus in terms of accessing the facilities more frequently.
And I saw the timetable that one of the from 4 to 4:50 is the ASA. And then I think that goes to our next slide, that we actually have a lot of ASA, the after school activities and clubs for our students to choose to expand their interests.
Yeah, so we have ASAs in our, we have a excellent product design lab, and we have ASAs where students are able to use our 3D printers. We have one ASA where it's a movie prop design class. And we have ASAs again that focus on academics. So we had academic decathlon and knowledge bowl. We have students we have an AMC math. So we have both teacher-led, we have student-led ASAs that our kids get such a wide variety of choices. And then the last thing, both with ASAs that serves at kind of the same time, is our athletics. And so our ASA and athletics work on a trimester seasonal schedule. And so we have a fall, a winter, and a spring season. And the ASAs and the athletics rotate in that. And so you would participate in an ASA that would last about 9 to 10 weeks, or a sport, and that would last 9 to 10 weeks. And then we would move into session 2. We wanted to make sure that students that want to participate in ASAs and sports, that they wouldn't be busy doing one while then another session starts. And so we strategically align those. I'm very proud of our athletics department and how much it's grown. With COVID, we haven't been able to travel to our ACAMIS events, but this year, hopefully, we actually might be going to cross country this year. And the one thing that is kind of a bummer before COVID is right before COVID happened, we had just won ACAMIS gold in cross country, a very strong cross country program. And the previous year, we won ACAMIS gold in girls basketball. And so really a school that's providing students with competitive athletics and as well as having success.
Wow, very good. And I also heard students comment saying that, oh, we have a very tall vice principal. That does it mean that you also have the backgrounds of like athletics, and then how do you find being part of the athletic teams can support students? Actually, it probably help their academic as well.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in sports and what it teaches about being a team player. And so my background is I played high school athletics in 3 different sports: in basketball, American football, and then track and field. And then I actually was fortunate enough to work really hard and receive a full ride scholarship for American football at the university level. And then after that, played in Canada professionally and in some other leagues around America. And then got into coaching, where I actually coached basketball for about 5 years at a very high level school in the state of Arizona in the US before coming over here. And so I love going to the gym and playing with our kids. We always have teacher games early on in the season, and me and Mr. Burton, our principal, love getting out and kind of having fun with the younger kids. And sometimes they make us look bad, sometimes we get the better of them. So it is something. I love athletics. I encourage all of our staff members to go out and support our kids and our students to make sure that they're cheering each other on.
And then students could actually, through doing the sports and being part of the athletics and joining these programs, in order to get scholarships in the universities, particularly in the US as well. Because I used to work with students who also, they have the goal to play golf and being professional in golf, and then they will be able to apply the scholarships in America by being excellent.
Yes, and the one thing that's really good about playing athletics and playing a sport is it does make you well-rounded in the college application process. They don't just want a good student, but they want to see, well, what kind of community service are you doing? Which is another area. We do have clubs like National Honor Society, where students are getting the opportunity to provide service hours. But then if you are actually good enough at sports, you might actually gain priority over a student that maybe isn't. And so that it is one of those markers that universities look at when they're trying to weigh one student versus another for the college admissions process.
Ooh, okay. And then I think we have a parent ask about enrollment. Is it too late for enrolling for the current school year? Do we have to wait till next year to start attending the school?
And so we have students that, just like Mr. Rose said, we have students that come at varying times because of their different situations. And so we really always handle it on a case-by-case basis. And so that's why, it's very important that you pick up and contact us, and we can kind of give you that information and start that process where we can start going through and seeing how we can best support your student.
So our peak enrollment season will be every year in February, and also the beginning of the academic year by end of September. So those are the two popular months that parents signed up, and then the children come to our school. But through the whole years, depends on the grades, because some classes are already full, then there won't be any places, and then some classes that will still have places. Then we recommend you to also contact our admission staff and our admissions team, and then we'll let you know more details about each grade if there are still places, and we still take applications. Yeah, so by ending our virtual events, that I would like to spend some time to talk about our admissions information. That actually the grades that we open for Dalian American International School, starting from age 4 to 5, that is our kindergarten, pre-K to kindergarten program, and then our elementary start from age 6 to 11, that is grade 1 to 5, and then middle school grade 6 to 8, age 12 to 14, and then 15 plus years old, that is our high school, right? Okay, and then for parents who are interested in knowing more about Dalian American International Schools, that you can come join our info sessions. We have online virtual sessions every now and again, regular, to approach you if you are not in China or not in Dalian. But if you are in Dalian, then you're more than welcome to come visit us, and then we'll do a personalized school tour for you, so that you get to meet Mr. Holstrom and also Mr. Burton, our secondary principals. And then if you are interested, that you can fill in the application form online, but also fill in the paper application form when you meet us in the school. And that will lead us to the next process of interview and assessment. That is really not for us to find out how good or how good is the child. It's actually for us to find out, to know more about your child, so that we know how to tailor your child, and then to recommend different programs, and then also recommend different study plan for them. Yeah, and then after that, we will start the offer, deposit, and then the tuition process. And then I think I'll leave it to Ms. Audrey to tell us that we have actually two very good events that to allow parents to come into the school, right?
Right, so on October 16th, we are actually, which is coming up very fast, we're going to have an MUN, Model UN Day. And so we'll open that to for parents to come in and observe. So please sign up with us for the October open day. You could, we will have a little mini sessions introducing the school, and you could also see how students participate in an MUN event.
Yeah, because this Saturday that will be. How many students are coming back on Saturday?
I would have to. It's at least going to be 50 or more. And it is. I highly recommend, if you are interested. This is one of the highlights. We hold multiple MUN conferences each year, and it would be sometimes 50 to 100 students. And it is so cool to see our students being able to communicate and pass resolutions. And I actually always love going, and you'll see me there observing, because they end up talking about different social issues around the world that are current. And really, I always come away from those conferences actually learning a lot. And so I love enjoying it. So if you want to see kind of one of the things that makes our school so special, Saturday is a great day to come.
Yeah, so then, which means our schools is not just operating Monday to Friday. In fact, a lot of the secondary activities, because their timetable is quite busy during the day, a lot of the activities actually happens after the school and also during the weekends, that our teachers also will supervise and then help and support them. Right, and then also don't forget, we'll have our biggest ever open day in November, that we work with our after-school athletic team and then also the activity team to provide over 30 after-school activities and clubs for you to bring your children to come and experience, and also to meet our principals and head of the school, and then to find out more about our school on November 13th, that is a Saturday in the morning. Yes, okay. So we got to answer a lot of the questions for our parents today, and then we also introduced our Dalian American International School. We really love to see you face to face, that you come to our school and then meet our principals, our teachers, and then chat about your expectations for the children, and then what kind of education and school you are looking for. Okay, so tonight, thank you very much, Mr. Ostrom, and then thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I hope to see you all soon.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Have a good night.